Today on Co-op for Two, a quick spoiler-free review of Hidden Games Green Poison, a cold case game we've been waiting 3 years for. Was the wait worth it? Let's find out. Hidden Games Green Poison. I picked this up, I think, for $25 on Amazon. It is a cold case game, meaning you're going to go through documents, try to solve typically a murder. You can only play through it once, but nothing gets destroyed. Well, a little bit gets destroyed here, but you could still pass it on if you're careful. It's rated at ages 14 and up. Maybe you could expect 2 hours playthrough. I think it took us about 6 to play. The Hidden Games series is a German series. There's actually maybe a dozen games in the series, but only 3 or so have made it over to the United States to be translated and localized. This is I think I said it's a German company, but they don't just translate the games that they sell in different regions. They re-localize them in new local cities, local to the country they're translating. And for whatever reason, 2 of their games got localized and translated into English 3 years ago or so that we played. And this game, Green Poison, came out then, but has only recently been localized and translated and become available in English. Whether the other games in this series will be remains to be seen. Now, I did do a spoiler-free long review of the first 2 games in the Hidden Games Crime series that we played, and I was a big fan. This is before Cryptic Killers got popular, and I guess I considered this series right up there with the best of them, or maybe 1 tier below. And one of the hallmarks of this series was a very well done internet component where there were websites you would interact with and try to solve. But just a good, solid, medium difficulty cases. Now, the previous games in the series, I think, were smoothly translated. There are a couple issues in the translation here that make it a bit more of a bumpy ride. But let's take a look at the components. And I said this is spoiler-free, but this is just what you would see when you open the container. There are no stages in this game, unlike some of the cold case games we play, where there are envelopes that get unlocked. Here, everything is dumped on you. And let's just go through it so you get some idea. So we've got a little bit of a map that's going to be useful as you work out things. There's a couple of documents that all of the games give you. We've seen this in a couple more cold case games, just sort of notes you could write on. And here, a little poster of all your potential suspects and a place for you to add notes, and some pre-filled notes that give you information that isn't found elsewhere. So as you play, you'll be learning about these people and figuring out what role they have to play. We've got a pointless little pad of paper, but business cards, some photos, more photos, more business cards. We've got an item here that is a little gimmick of testing something in water, and that does get a little bit destroyed, but maybe you got enough to do it several times. There are some internet websites to visit. We've got a newspaper magazine here, some social media printouts, mostly single-sided, newspaper, various documents, reasonably well produced, all localized to an American town. more documents. I would say maybe average number and quality of documents. So my bottom line here is that this is a little bit below the previous two cases in this series that we've played. I do think there is a solid mystery here and some very clever elements. There are clever little bits of intertwining storylines, mysteries, crimes, rather than just it's not a simple, straightforward case where we've got a victim and then we've got, 6 suspects and we're just ruling them out, and then the one left over is the one who did it. This is a much more satisfying case where we've got lots of moving parts and interacting relationships, and it is fun to work them out. But I wouldn't say it's an amazing story with amazing clues. I do think there are a few problems here. In addition to all the good stuff is here, and the internet stuff is done very well, but there are a couple of issues. And there's a technical issue, which is that there's an important photograph that's not properly converted to the story. It's like an original photograph in a different language that doesn't quite work and breaks things and is confusing. And then there's a website where you're supposed to put in some information, and it's very unclear what format it wants it in. There are a couple places where the European date order for month and day hasn't been converted to American format. And then there's a website where it's not clear what format. And it did result in some real frustration on our part when playing. So if you are playing the game and you get to those parts, you might want to stop by Board Game Geek or check out my playthrough and review, and before you spend too much time doing that. I think in addition to those technical issues, there was a weird thing with the pacing here and the order of going through the documents. It was a weird experience you can see why the system of multiple envelopes that you open and unlock sets up a more natural progression of a story and a case. This one was almost like the worst we've seen in terms of being contacted about a cold case and then going through the documents and not learning about the beginning of the case and the victim until the end of the documents. It was a very weird feeling that we were going through documents in the wrong order and without any guidance about or any structure to the case until we were halfway through. I think maybe authors of these games would be well advised to try to start with some initial structure to motivate the case. We do see that in some cases where it'll say start here, or at least an introduction that tells us about the nature of the case and why we're hired and introduces the basic facts to us. This was weird in that respect. So I think for me, maybe a 7.5, I would say could be a little higher if they worked out a few of the kinks here. I definitely recommend this series, especially if you're looking for a cold case game with some internet components. Play the first two and then make your way to this one. Or if you're German, you've got the whole series to choose from. And do keep your eye open for a a photo that's wrong and date formats that you're supposed to put into the internet that might not be in the format you expect. Let me know if you disagree with me, and I'll see you on the next video.